You got to be honest with your characters, your story, and your presentation. You know, it starts with a script, and it goes to the cast. I mean, I generally avoid having 30-year-olds playing 15, which some people do. I mean, Molly in this movie is playing her age. Actually, she's playing about 6 months younger than she really is, but it's easier to identify. I mean, this is an actual 17-year-old girl. This isn't a 25-year-old girl trying to be 17.
It does seem like a long time ago. Well, it was a long time ago. I was just graduating from high school. Actually, I was taking my exams during the filming of Pretty in Pink because it was just before the summer. So I actually remember doing a scene in Trax, the record store, and then going to my trailer and taking my algebra final, which I aced. Thank you very much.
She was only 17 when we did the movie, and she would shoot during the day and then go up and do her studies. And she literally one day took a test, an exam, and then came down and shot the film.
You're doing extremely well in your courses. And I think your chances of getting a scholarship are excellent.
Pretty in Pink was written for her. I think she was the perfect John Hughes muse, I guess.
He had just moved to ICM at the time, and I was a client there. And they had given him a stack of headshots of different actors that were at the agency, and he was in the middle of casting Breakfast Club in Chicago locally. So the story goes, they gave him a headshot, and he picked it out of a stack and put it above his writing desk and wrote 16 Candles with my face there. And then later we actually met. I remember being annoyed that I had to go meet somebody on a weekend. I think it was on a Saturday or Sunday, and I didn't feel like I wanted to. I mean, I wanted to hang out with my friends on the weekend, but the agent said, no, this is important. You should meet this person. So I didn't drive yet. My mom drove me to I think he was staying in that Universal Hotel, whatever it is that's near Universal Studios. And I remember sitting in the lobby sort of pouting and figuring I was just going to meet some boring director. And the first thing I remember about him were his tennis shoes. John Hughes had a really incredible collection of sneakers, and very sort of elaborate, big sneakers. And that was the first thing I remember seeing are the sneakers, and then his face and his glasses and his spiky hair. And I thought, maybe this won't be so bad. And we just got along great. We talked about music and talked about the script. He was very funny, a great storyteller. And so after that, we just started doing these movies together.
This is a girl who doesn't have a lot of money, is at a rich high school. Most people are rich. She's, there's a lower strata in this community, and she's part of that, and is judged not always for what she is, but for what she has.
Because I don't want you to see where I live, okay?
I came from sort of the middle, so I saw more than me and less than me. And I always thought that was sort of tragic, and I still do, that certain people, just because, with things over which they have no control, affect their lives. And I think that's a tragedy. I think that's real sad. I think it's something that should be examined.
It's a classic sort of, girl from the other side of the tracks wanting to pull herself up. She understood that very well. Molly fought very hard for her career. I think that her family was dependent on her working as well. So she knew the underpinnings of that character intimately, I think.
I connected to her. She was an underdog and somebody that felt a little bit different and felt awkward. And I felt that way in school because of working and looking different. The red hair, the freckles. I was very skinny, and it wasn't really considered the beauty ideal, whatever, of that time. And I got teased a lot and bullied, and I remember going to school in 6th grade and getting bullied by girls. I'm going to kick your ass. I'm going to kick your ass after school. And you're thinking, why? Why is this person picking on me? I had a bully in 7th grade, this girl named Laverne, who was in 8th grade, who just picked me out and just said, you know, I'm going to kick your ass after school. I'm going to kick your And I thought, who is this person? Why? Why are they picking on me? What did I do? And I hated it. It was really, it made going to school really difficult, to the point of when I got to 8th grade, I actually had to leave my junior high school because it was just too distracting and upsetting to me. And I just went home one day and I said, I'm not going back. I'm not going back to that school. I have to go somewhere else.
Where'd you get your clothes? Five and Dime store?
Such a prevalent thing. It happens to everyone. It's always happened. It will continue to happen. And it's really difficult. When I think about having a daughter now, you know, I don't have to worry about this for a little while. She's a year and a half. And so far, you know, all the world loves her. She's completely trusting. She's very open. And I think, oh, it's so wonderful. And that one day when somebody is going to take her toy away or hurt her, and it's so hard as a parent to think, how can I protect her? And you can't. We all have to go through this. And, you know, it's just a part of growing up. And I think high school really does sort of prepare you for real life, because there is nothing more cruel than going through high school. There's just nothing. The kids, the teachers, everything, it's brutal. So I think it is sort of a great preparation, in a way, for life, if you can make it through.
Molly's character, aside from being someone he's just attracted to because of what she's pretty, she's smart and interesting, is that she's something away from his normal society, which he's questioning anyway. And I think that's one of the reasons he gets attracted to her, involved with her.
I thought he was dreamy. It was a crush. We never went out or anything. We did 2 films together, and then we did a play reading together. But yeah, we actually were supposed to go out once, and he stood me up. He really stood me up. I don't know. He might have been already going out with the person that he's married to now. I don't know exactly what the details were, but I do remember. I think that was the only time I was ever stood up. And Andrew, you have some explaining to do. Never gotten over it. No, I got over it.
Feel any better if I asked you to the prom? I mean, I know the prom's kind of lame, so if you don't want to go, it's really no big deal.
I was very nervous about kissing people on film. Well, of course, I hadn't kissed Andrew at all. I don't even think that we kissed in the audition. That was really, I think, our first kiss ever, and I was very nervous about it, but I really did make up my mind that I was going to make it a fantastic kiss. And it was. I remember it was a little bit hard for me to kiss him first, and that was, I think that was written in the script, that I kissed him, and it really embarrassed me just as a girl to be the one that initiates the kiss, because I always thought, no, you wait for the guy to kiss you. Of course, you know, you don't kiss the guy. That's wrong. And but that was really important, and I'm really glad that that's the way that it ended up, because I think it's a really sexy kiss. And I like the fact that my character initiates it. I think it's really strong that way, and you really see how much she wants this guy.
Having a crush can be really useful or really unuseful. Depends on how far the crush goes. I'm a big believer in keeping people with crushes apart, and that way the tension of their feelings is used in the scene, and that's what happened, luckily for me, because Andrew was always distracted and fragmented and always like looking around. Now he was smart enough as an actor to do that and to use it in the scene, but there was enormous feelings on both their parts, especially Molly for Andrew, and she had a huge crush on him, and that worked for the movie, and you could feel it. But that can work against you. If they get together and they start dating, you know, then that dilutes in the air the feelings, and, you know, you can see the air come out of the balloon. So it's important for any director, I think, to factor that in and keep in mind you want that in the movie, not off screen.
I don't think you can deconstruct the whole process of sexual attraction. It's either there or it's not. It's impossible to have a formula, because sometimes you'll look at people who have a fantastic, you know, marriage, you know, actors that live together, or, you know, but they don't have that sexual chemistry on film. You know, you don't know why. There's actors that don't like each other. that can have a fantastic sexual chemistry. There's actors that can just be crazy about each other and it's not there. You just don't know. I think it's just one of those completely, I mean, I think if studios were able to have a formula for this, they certainly, you know, would patent it and use it. It would save them a lot of money, but you just never know. I remember kissing for a while. And I also had a boyfriend at the time, Dweezil Zappa, who would hang around on the set different times. And I remember him sort of not really being happy about the whole kiss. Do they really have to film it for so long? I mean, haven't they gotten it already? They did it from a lot of different angles, I think. And I remember it took a while to shoot.
Yeah, she wanted to do a lot of takes.
Molly had a real emotional availability. And she wasn't the sort of, you know, blonde, blue-eyed, you know, thing. She was a unique, quirky individual, which is what everybody feels like, I think, when they're not listened to. I think everyone feels, even if they are blonde and blue-eyed, they feel on the outside looking in to a large degree. And I think Molly just manifested that.
Just want to let them know that they didn't break me.
And she had a sort of her own innate integrity that came through, so that then people could identify with her and then respect her. Kind of like, well, yeah, she's doing it, I can do it, kind of thing.
John Hughes, he has an amazing intuitive sense of actors. I mean, think about, I mean, the ones that he discovered as kids. I mean, I don't know anybody with that track record, from, you know, Anthony Michael Hall to Macaulay Culkin to Molly to Spader to, I mean, you know, it goes on and on. So with Molly, I think he found in her the behavior he felt had a sense of truth to it that mirrored emotionally the character that he was writing, and terrific talent. You know, he responds to talent and truth. And I think in Molly, he found that. And that was the first one, 16 Candles, and the experience of it, and that was his first movie, ignited him and made him feel like, I want to go again and do this again and go to the next step with her.
He sort of saw something that other people didn't see, and he was able to sort of film that and use it. I didn't feel that connection with anyone else. I was a pretty shy kid. I wasn't very extroverted, wasn't very outgoing. A lot of, you know, everything was very internalized. And he got something out of me that I don't think anybody did up to that point. And I don't really know that anybody has since.
No, this is a really volcanic ensemble you're wearing. It's really marvelous.
Volcanic?
Well, you know, hot, dangerous.
Are you going to class today?
Well, I don't know if I'm emotionally ready.
I'll go for it. It's virtually painless.
Excuse me. On this particular movie, we've got a great costume designer by the name of Marilyn Vance, who gave everybody a tremendous amount of help on their characters. I mean, she worked with the actors on the costumes, but she already had a really strong idea of what was going to happen with them. And she helped me tremendously. I mean, I sort of pictured my character a lot darker and a lot more, you know, sort of the leather jacket, sort of tough type, which I'm not really a leather jacket tough type.
Yeah, Marilyn Vance, costume designer. I had known her. She did a music video with me for Billy Joel. She was instrumental in creating a look for this. Now, John Hughes also had a lot of input into it because he was so close to the production. He kept saying, oh, it's got to be the next thing. It's got to be the new thing. It's got to be. And Marilyn went out with Molly and John and whoever the actors were to go cherry pick everything on a personal level for them.
I really, really liked Howie Deutsch. And Howie and John had a kind of, they were synchronized. And I just love it because reading John's script, the movie was already filmed in my head because it was so there, the characterizations.
She was very ignited by the project. She loved the kids. They loved her. And they would go out and spend endless hours in flea markets or thrift shops or places where they could find stuff that was unique to their personality or express what they were trying to go for.
I remain now and will always be a Duck man.
Ducky wearing those white shoes that he did to the prom, or his hats, or his entire ensemble. was his identity. And same with Molly. All the great things she found, all the different combinations that she put together, which cost a tenth of what the girls who had money spent, pretty much projected to the audience what you could do if you really had the talent and the taste to do it. And I think that's part of the reason they liked her and identified with her and wanted to be her.
Well, let me see this outfit. Was this your latest creation?
Uh-huh. This is it.
My God, what did that cost you?
The clothes, I love. I mean, I think that they're really funky and they're fun. And Marilyn had picked out some fantastic vintage pieces. I mean, clothes that I still actually wear to this day. I still have that black sweater with the dragon on it. I have the blue little cardigan with the applique flowers, and you know, I love my clothes in this movie.
So, you want to go home and change?
I already did.
Sorry.
Well, she shows up at the party, and they're all running around in their little skirts and their sweaters, and, you know, and Molly is there in her gray patterned outfit with her long pearls and, you know, her little lace thing over it. And she looked thrift store, but at the same time, she had an elegance about her. And that was what carried this character.
Where'd you get your clothes? Five and Dime store?
I ran around to all the cheaper stores at the time for the rich kids, by the way. The rich kids came out of Kmart. All those ice cream colors and the shorts and the little skirts and, you know, the socks and the look. I did it as cheaply as possible. And they looked fresh and, you know, that was their thing.
This is a holster with I mean, it's a little scaled down gun, doesn't shoot anything in particular. The great thing about this is our costume designer, Vivian Vance. That was Ethel Mertz. No, Marilyn Vance, our costume designer. Whoa, our costume designer is wonderfully idiosyncratic, and she knows that she wants crazy things, so she gets crazy stuff. I mean, it's really, it's, you know, I mean, this is a bike chain, you know, and what's funny is all this stuff, I mean, it looks like it costs nothing. It looks like she bought it at thrift stores, but this is all so expensive. I mean, that's movies. Movies can make things look really cheap, which I think is one of their great virtues.
We just took license with Ducky, with the hat, with the card, and his Army insignias on his sport jacket. It just changed a little straight-looking, preppy jacket into something a little offbeat. And that's how I dressed him. It was the same thing, by cutting off, putting suspenders on him, giving him a sloppy shirt with a pattern, fighting the patterns. He was great.
It's a lot of fun to look like that. Of course, it's not a lot of fun to get seen like that when you're on location with hundreds of young female extras who are laughing hysterically at your outfit. Then it gets to be a little less fun, but they never said that this was a glamour gig to begin with.
He initially, I think he went, "What?" He was laughing. I think it scared him at first. Come on, you know, a young guy. He's a kid. He comes on, he sees this wardrobe that I have planned for him, and I think he got really, like, a little weirded out.
Her whole thing was, you know, let's just put things together that should never, ever be put together. And that worked, you know, it really succeeded. He was that guy. In fact, you know, people have parties and dress like Ducky, and, you know, and it's insane to me. A big problem with the Ducky shoes was they were too small. We found 2 pairs at a resale store in LA, and both of them were too small. So my feet would literally tear through them. And if you see in the scene of in the record store where I'm doing the big dance number, there's shots of my feet shuffling. I literally shuffled out of my shoes. I mean, the tops would just rip and have to be repaired after each take. And man, it was painful. But you know, they sort of said who he was, so they were important to wear.
First time the audience sees Iona, she is dressed in what I hope looks like on screen, which is what it really was, is a rubber suit. I hope it looks like a rubber suit because the thing was so uncomfortable. If it doesn't look like rubber, if it looks like shiny rayon, I'm going to kill myself, because it was like wearing like an industrial strength rubber band on my whole body. The rubber dress was very difficult, and every time that black dress was literally made out of rubber. It looked really great, but it was very difficult to walk in. It was quite tight down here, so that it was like a workout. You see people in the gym who have those rubber bands, that they do. The whole dress was like that. So walking was a challenge.
I had to cut the t-shirt out of the back, so she'd have the back opening, and just the front, you'd see a t-shirt with that. We powdered that dress and slipped her into it.
And I remember I'd have to flip it up and and release my my lower body from the struggle of that dress every once in a while, but I did think in the end it looked real good.
I love this dress.
It's a great dress.
It was so much fun. Of course, everybody loves to put on a wig and a lot of eyeliner and a rubber dress every once in a while.
Iona? Hi, honey, I'm in here. Laugh and I'll deck you.
What happened?
The last view of her, she's clothed in much tamer stuff. She looks like an extra from Dynasty, personally. Certainly more normal stuff, if an extra from Dynasty looks normal. But I think that'll be perceived by a lot of people as that's going to look more mainstream and normal. But I would like to propose, and it was my vision of her, that her end costume is in her view, probably stranger than the others. Of course, she herself at the end looked like she was going to go straight. I looked at that today and I thought, oh, surely that didn't last.
Did you say that you went to your prom? Yeah, sure.
Was it terrible?
It was the worst. But it's supposed to be, but you have to go, right?
Well, you don't have to. It's not a requirement.
I have this girlfriend who didn't go to hers, and every once in a while she gets this really terrible feeling, like something is missing. She checks her purse and she checks her keys, she counts her kids, she goes crazy, and then she realizes that nothing is missing. She decided it was side effects from skipping the prom.
No, I didn't go to the prom. It was too scary.
I went to my senior prom, and then a private school senior prom, and then when I was a junior, I went to a prom too.
Oh, come on, the proms are turned into such big deals when you're in high school. They treat it like it's the be-all and end-all, and everyone has a horrible time, don't they? But everyone wants to go. And I looked silly in a tuxedo. I looked like a little kid in a penguin suit, so I didn't want to go.
I think we should stay for a while. We're not going to see these people for much longer.
I went to my high school prom.
I remember I had fun. It was good. You stand on the front lawn, get your picture taken by your dad and your mom, and then go to the prom and get drunk.
The actual me being at the prom is something that I don't really remember that well, so it's hard for me to describe it. But I do remember being fairly traumatized.
Should we dance?
Wouldn't be unheard of.
I do recall at the last prom that I went to, I had on a hideous formal of big yellow sunflowers and I think a hippie headdress with lots of love beads. I know. It's true.
It's great. You put on this funny Walt Disney dress and, you get your corsage and you go and you get crazy.
It was a strange experience because I ended up going out with the girl that my best friend took to the prom.
I don't remember. I remember it was pretty crazy. We partied at the prom and then partied afterwards.
It was something at the time that was not something I can talk about.
And I didn't go to my own prom. I think I had already moved to New York by then, and in a way I think I felt like I already did it too. I did it for 3 months. I didn't need to do it again, and reshoots. So I didn't feel the need to go to my own prom.
I really don't like labeling people, you know, teenagers, you know, I mean, they're people. And I think that the thoughts and feelings and emotions of someone 16 are as valid as my thoughts at 35. Why should human emotion be discounted for age? I don't believe in that.
It was a long time ago, but it seems that the films are so alive today because of the generations of kids that keep rediscovering them. And it's really sort of sweet. I have young 15-year-old kids thinking that the film is about them. It's pretty remarkable to do a film that has that much staying power.
There was a real effort by John Hughes and by Howie Deutsch to make these characters kind of iconic, you know, make them kids that you knew in school. And doing that by being very specific about them, not just by making them sort of bland cutouts, by being very, very specific. Plus, Howie really wanted to keep the simplicity of the situation, you know, it's poor kids, rich kids. You know, poor kids not supposed to date the rich kids. Rich kids not supposed to date the poor kids. You know, let's see what happens.
You know, it's just weird, you know, his friends have a lot of money and he has a lot of money. He drives a BMW.
I think what makes John Hughes movies timeless is his writing, is his dialogue. There's still lines that you can quote today.
His name is Blane? Oh, that's a major appliance. That's not a name.
I just think that his humor is timeless. His characters are infinitely sympathetic with villains that you love to hate.
She thinks you're shit. And deep down, you know she's right.
John Hughes always had this way of sort of making up kids' lingo. He would do that in an effort to not be dated because he made up his own, basically. I mean, the big example of that was in Breakfast Club when he had Emilio Estevez say, "Yo, wastoid, you're not going to blaze up in here." That being Emilio's way of saying, "Oh, don't smoke in here." I knew this was what John did, so when I saw the movie, I went, "Bah!" You know, I was like, "Where'd you come up with that one, John?" But it works, you know, it really does, you know, because kids talk in their own way, and John just tried to stay true to that.
Tot. White hot.
I loved making the movie. I loved making Pretty in Pink. There are certain movies you don't love making. I don't at any time ever recall saying to myself, "Wow, we're really onto something here." I had no idea that Pretty in Pink would do anything that it did. I thought it was a slightly sort of, at the time, not silly, but does anybody really care about a movie about a girl going to a prom and making a dress? Is that a little silly? It shows you what I know.
In fact, I thought it was going to be a huge bomb. I thought that there was no way. I had done 2 films before for John Hughes that did really well, and I thought, no, it can't last. People are going to hate it. They're going to hate me. The film is not going to do well. And I was convinced. I remember telling Howie that I thought the film was going to be a big bomb. And he thought I was crazy because I think he was pretty sure it was going to do well. And the film came out, and it did actually, it did better than any film that I had done to date.
Applause, applause, applause.
I often run into people and they'll go, "Oh, I loved you in 16 Candles." And I just go, "Oh, thank you very much." And because it occurred to me after a while that people see kind of Breakfast Club, 16 Candles, Pretty in Pink as one movie. Some people go, "Oh, I loved you in Breakfast Club." It's like, fine. But that was sort of his trilogy.
High five. All right. Go.
It's hard to deal with as an actor, the feeling that you did one of the best things you'd ever do in your career pretty much as the 3rd movie you ever did, you know, but that may well be the case, you know, and I don't want to make it into The Godfather, you know, it's not that, it's Pretty in Pink, but it did mean a lot to a lot of people, so I don't want to minimize it either.
I think that they were undervalued by critics, but these films were not made for critics. They were really made for teenagers. I don't think that they were made for adults. And most critics are adults, so it goes without saying, of course they wouldn't like them. But it's funny because the people that grew up with the films are critics now, and of course they're a lot more respected.
One of the underrated qualities of John's, he's probably got the best female voice, male writer of anybody I've read. Molly is a strong character and stands up for herself and fights.
Just say it!
I'm not lying.
Tell me!
What?
Tell me!
What do you want to hear?
Just tell me!
What?
You're ashamed to be seen with
No,
me.
I am
You're
not.
And is not someone who sublimates herself to a guy so that she's appealing to him. At the time, for a 16-year-old character, that was not the norm.
There haven't been that many films with a female protagonist who is intelligent and well-spoken and independent and confident.
This is about writing. This is not about directing, because I could direct the hell out of something, and if you don't care about the people because of the creation of those characters, if they're not people who you can relate to and get behind and root for and want to go on that journey with, then it doesn't matter how I direct them. It doesn't matter how great their behavior is or how much you believe them. You just don't care. These characters, and the reason they endure, are because they are original, and they are based on life experience, and the situations they're in are not manufactured. They're more organic to life. They're simple, but they're real.
I've heard the rumors too. I don't think that there, well, at least at present, there are no plans to do a sequel to the movie. I think that there could be. I certainly would be open to the idea of doing a sequel. But so far, I haven't read any scripts, so there's no immediate plans. I really, if there ever was a sequel to Pretty in Pink, I sort of imagine her really succeeding just because she has that drive. You sort of get the feeling, I get the feeling anyway, that Andie's going to do things with her life. I would have loved to have worked with John again. I still would love to work with him again.